succeed professionally for start organization. So before we do that, agenda for today, we're going to go through our event recap since our last meeting in January. We had a jam-packed February of events, so excited to kind of share what the turnout was and recap those events, and then we'll talk about a few things coming up on the horizon for essentially the end of the programming year before we hit summer. We have some key things that we need to get done, and then we'll go into kind of planning mode for like social media stuff. Back off again. September. So our first event for February was a TAME STEM competition. So the Texas Alliance Minorities and Engineering, they host the Central Austin STEM competition. This is where they have high school students, all chapters across Central Austin. They're doing just really like a ad hoc science project on site at the UT office. This year they had an engineering building at UT. They're basically taking students from all these different schools, building a team right there. So some of the teams are like people that they know. They're given the engineering design challenge. So they're told, all right, this is what your challenge is, and they have 60 minutes, roughly about 60 minutes to build a solution and build a presentation and make that presentation after 60 minutes. So it's a pretty like hectic but really fun activity for the students. Shaq was able to go, myself was able to attend, and we had a couple of other NSBE volunteers. Pretty good turnout. Our intention of this, going to this, was really to see how they operate, because they've asked for an organization like ours to host and kind of coordinate moving forward. So TAME is a statewide organization, obviously, and the mission really aligns with what NSBE does, but it's just focused on Texas. Anybody who's a part of TAME in high school? No? Y'all probably not from Texas, right? So when I talked to the executive director, she was saying that typically they will have for the regional competitions a organization or a corporate sponsor to host and put things together. Well, because they don't have that in Central Austin and the headquarters in Austin, they've been putting it on themselves. So instead of kind of jumping in and saying do it, I wanted to see how it works, see how what type of participation they had. They had great participation. We would like to see more minority, but it was very, very diverse set of kids. We more than likely will take it on next year. So if you're interested in that, talk to me. The other event we did was Engineering Day. February 18th, we went to 3 different sites, Lisa, Intel, and CE, which is the health company. They have what they call clinical education center. So basically simulation that has some cool technology like just like lab where they train the nurses. Wanted to get kind of exposure to some different aspects of engineering. This is our students from Louisville. We had students from Army, right? Yeah. So they had a great time. We do that every year, really just to kind of expose the students that are coming up into this pipeline of engineering to different aspects of engineering, kind of give them on site what we do as engineers day to day. So we had about what turned out to be about 60 total students. Yeah. And then at the end of the month, we partnered with Autumn, which is the Austin Urban Technology Movement, as well as some other Black Christian organizations, Black people. It was actually weird. So we got to see different setup of this room. We had artists singing, dancing, as well as a panel talk about how to cultivate and keep Black talent within Austin. That was a pretty good turnout. I think we'll probably do more things like that in partnership. So, upcoming events. Oh, any questions on past events? Upcoming events, obviously today, with our GBM, talk very briefly about NSBE 46 and this postponement. It was supposed to be at the end of this month, but the pandemic, pending pandemic, they have decided to postpone. April, we have our NSBE mixture. So every month we do a general body meeting, and the opposite month we're going to do a mixer. Typically, it would be in partnership with the patients, but we haven't decided on that. So if you have ideas of what you might want to do next month, let me know. I know we have a meeting coming up with the Black Professional Alliance. They typically will do it in April, so we may end up partnering. May, we have a general body meeting. Then May 17th, which is going to be our biggest event of the year, it's our Fresh Start event. It's already set for May 17th at Applied Materials. This is where we take students from all the way as low as sixth grade all the way up to senior high school to the site, and they do actual workshops in different areas. So we're going to spend the whole day there. We're going to have different areas of different activities, different hands-on labs, workshops, presentations for the students to participate in, just rotate over, as well as for the parents. They'll have a track, get training, and some information about how to get prepare their kids for college. We also in May will more likely have our elections for next year. So if you're interested in being an officer on the board for next year, please let me know. Right. Any questions on the upcoming event?
I nominate Ecleamus Riggs as president. All in favor say aye.
So real quick, the NSBE convention. Was anybody planning on going to the convention? You're still in.
But now it's being moved, maybe mine was more scheduled.
Oh, okay.
It's good.
Well, yeah. So that's the message right now is that it's postponed. It's supposed to be in San Antonio. Some key cases that they want to stay away from there. They haven't messaged anything other than it's going to be postponed. They're looking at a date in August. So you want to look at the website. There's actually a survey. Did anybody get a survey? Okay, so I'll share that link with you all. They asked for just feedback on like, what would you come to a virtual career fair, participate in the virtual career fair, and then do on-site or do an entirely virtual convention. And yeah, so they're looking for it.
Isn't the professional development conference?
It is, and that's actually feedback I gave you. So it being in August would more than likely be close or too close. Now, obviously, if it's in San Antonio, it doesn't affect me. I can drive to San Antonio for other people. So I think your feedback on that would be valuable in deciding what they're going to do. So I'll send that survey link for you all. Any questions on postponement?
Are they still pretty in San Antonio if they move to August?
That's the at least the last update.
So it's just a thing.
So it's just a theoretically, if we have it in August, that's really the question. And then what would keep you coming? What considerations you have for deciding to participate in that? And looking for that feedback.
You for it?
So I wanted to introduce our guest speaker today, Amos Schwartzfarb from TechStars. Amos was born in the Bronx, New York. Grew up in Fort Lee, New Jersey. At a young age, Amos started seeking adventure and pushing limits while attending college at UMass. Amos fell in love with rock climbing, which brought him to Northern California in 1993. Eventually, a job packing boxes for Shoreline Mountain Park. While there, Amos helped turn an old school mail order company into one of the first e-commerce companies, which launched his career into the startup world. Shoreline later sold to Mountain View. After Shoreline, Amos spent a few years adventure racing, where his team was ranked second in the nation twice and 20th in the world after completing the 2001 Eco Challenge. During this time, Amos also stumbled back into the startups and went on to 6 more, including hotjobs.com, acquired by Yahoo, work.com, virtualbusiness.com, business.com, acquired by R.H. Donalty, My Spoonful, acquired by the Wrights Shop, Black Lotus, and Joust. At each company, his responsibility was always directly related to figuring out product market fit, early sales, and building sales organization. Then in 2015, he moved over to the investor side as managing director of TechStars Austin. Now, after over 70 stage investments, including Scale Factor, Robotics, and Robotics, Dopabees, Convey, Amos has become one of the more active early stage investors via TechStars Austin, all of Texas. Amos is also the author of Sell More Faster, the ultimate sales playbook for startups. Amos wrote this book using his experience and network to create a guide to help every founder and startup sales leader in their quest to build a big and meaningful business. Amos still enjoys the outdoors and spends much of his time mountain biking, rock climbing, and cooking with his wife and 2 daughters. So we've asked Amos, because of his experience and exposure, to come speak with us about startup innovation as we continue that conversation that we started in January with Preston James from DFE, just basically giving us more of an understanding of how startups work, what we need to know, and what maybe we need to work on in order to introduce ourselves to that community. So without further ado, I'm just asking Amos to come up and please welcome to that.
That's what I usually look like. My 8-year-old wanted me to grow here in December, and she doesn't want me to shave it until September. So see you in
That's what I'm
2 months.
talking about. I understand.
I don't know. Am I going to offend anybody?
It'll be.
Good, I got really bad fucking mouth. My parents, when I was growing up, they're like, you can curse as much as you want, you can never curse at a person. She never told me that, because I was bad. I don't even know where to start. So let me start with this. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, how I see myself, and then maybe go around the room and like tell me a little bit about you so I know who's here. And then I'm happy to talk about anything. I am an open book. I literally will tell you anything you want. So we can jump into some of the introduction stuff. I can tell you about sort of how I got into startups, and maybe I'll tell you a little bit about that when I introduce myself. How did I end up here? I ask myself that question every day. So let me start there. I do not consider myself privileged, even with all that. And it probably is because it's not what brought me into the world that I am in. I really am just like, if I'm being really honest, I'm just a fucking kid that hustled like a motherfucker when I was young, and worked my ass off on other things. So like the things that I identify with are, I was a wrestler first and foremost, because I had to get myself out of trouble. And that started at a super young age. Things that I learned in wrestling were how to work my ass off, how to lose with respect, how to win with respect, and how to work my ass off. And I know I said that twice, but that's the truth. Like, that's the biggest thing I learned. There's a lot of discipline that I learned in that. And that's probably the biggest thing, that how I, like when I flip back and identify, and then it's kind of the things that come from that is like problem solving. And I like when there's challenges where I know it's going to be hard, but in my mind, I can see what the end is, even if I have no idea what the path is, right? That's a lot of what starting things is about. I can see the end, but I don't know how to get there. I love that sort of, how do you figure out those challenges? I think a lot of that actually comes from wrestling. I stumbled into literally every job that I've had, including TechStars. It's been an accident. And I say an accident, but I really think it's about always having good work ethic, always putting myself out there without giving a shit if I fail. And I love talking about failure. It's actually a topic that I love because I look at it. I failed regularly. I failed multiple times. I fucked up so much that I embrace it. And I think the fact that I've never really been afraid of fucking up has helped me because I just put it out there. All right, it doesn't work out. I'll figure out something else. I tie that back to this. Because I had to throw myself out on that. A little more on that, and this doesn't sound like entrepreneurship, but for me it really is. It's when I was a freshman, I weighed 80 pounds. 80 pounds. You had to weigh 84 pounds to wrestle 103. I used to have to put quarters in my pocket when I weighed in, and I get thrown out on a mat, and I get every time. And little by little, I learned how to fight a little bit harder. Halfway through the season, I wasn't going to advance it to be quite as bad. I'd make it to the end of the match. By the end of the season, I started to win. My sophomore year, I started wrestling long before this one. My sophomore year, I weighed 90 pounds. I started beating almost everybody. Then my junior year, 100 pounds. It still wasn't 103 pounds. I've always been small. But I kicked everybody's ass. And why? Because holy shit, I just threw myself out there. And I do think about like all of the startups that I've ever done. I think about those days. Actually, not just the startups, everything I've ever done. I relate back to those days. Just like not giving a shit, throwing myself out. I didn't realize I didn't give a shit at the time, but I think about it in that way. So I'll sort of fast forward and go quickly and go back to whatever. Every company that I've been a part of, I've thrown myself out there in a way that just says, I'm going to try, and if it fails, it's okay. Shoreline Mountain Products was that way in San Francisco. The reality of what happened there is I like to rock climb. I was packing boxes in a garage with some dude who started a company, and we just tried shit. There wasn't such thing as e-commerce, right? We all buy things online now. That didn't exist. It didn't exist, but we were like, this internet thing's kind of cool. Let's see what we can do with it. Worst case that happens is go back to people. Hot Jobs was kind of similar. I was working, I had this like job, this temp job that I got, and I was working in an office helping with TV commercials, and we were at a bar one night with all the people I work with, and this dude just threw myself out there. That dude ended up being the founder of Hot Jobs. Threw myself out there for that job. Really kind of everything has sort of been that way. I think, the biggest lesson through all for me is just like, don't be afraid to throw yourself out there and try it, because especially in entrepreneurship, like the only thing that is certain is everything you try is going to be super, super, super hard, and most of it isn't going to work. But if you don't keep trying and keep getting up, nothing, you'll never find that thing. I don't know, maybe that tells you a little more about me than you want to know. But start there. I'd love to hear what just name, what interests you, maybe one thing you might want to put out tonight, or then we'll Joseph. Just one time I want to know more about how to better startup system in Austin compared to talents. Well, I'm going to write that. I'm going to recall anything you guys say down. So,
I was about to say, I don't know what that is. You right up there. It's like, that is shorthand Peru. Starting.
question. I'm just like I would say technical enthusiast. I went to school, computer science. Work out here now. Also Indiana. I would say what made you want to go more about the startup rather than a big company?
I love talking about that, yeah.
You're supposed to want that radio stuff.
I like that topic because I don't know the real answer, but I've made up an answer that I get the question a lot. Yeah.
That counts.
Oh, my name is Dominic. Actually, but I'm a manufacturing technician right now. Actually, it's funny because someone told me to start startups for maybe position or something like that. It's very general. And like just working on going from failure to failure.
How do I go to failure to failure?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
The last 18 months, I have thought about that a lot. It's really fun because I started to fail more. But like with pride, it's been amazing because my stress level has gone down. I'm excited. But all the stuff like that, telling you about failing up, a lot of the realization is really like, love talking about that too. How do I fail a lot and not care? Spend your own money versus spend other people's money to build a business. My name is Charles. I realize that I don't really know much about starting stuff. I should get out of stuff. Cool. So you're surprised that they can read all that.
Hi, I'm Danielle. I'm currently a project manager at Dell Technologies, background in digital engineering, general business designer. I guess my question is, how do you avoid the imposter syndrome? You start all these new businesses. How do you make sure
I
that
don't. I have so much fucking imposter syndrome.
how do you make sure you're like, how is it gonna work? How am I? Why do I think I'm the person to do this?
I talk about this a lot in TechStars. My belief is everyone has it, and it doesn't manifest in different ways. I just lean into it. I figure, and we'll talk about this more, but I figure if I know 1% more than the people I'm speaking with, then I'm the expert. I might not be an expert in the world, but I'm an expert in the conversation.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I work at Dell. I am an account manager, so my background is more so public relations, marketing, business management. So for me, because I've started a catering company, it's like of course, a startup. How is it, I guess, looking into the processes of expanding the startups to go from, like, in my case, catering to food trucks to a restaurant, with that more routed towards like investors or maybe not much myself, spend my own.
How do you expand that?
Yeah, how do you expand?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Annie. I guess my insight is like software development and like UX lifetime. I guess my question
I'm gonna think about that.
What are you writing, Amos? I mean, I got money in my pocket that's ready to give whoever can read that.
My name is Sharon. Certain University with the information technology design and startups minor. I guess what I would be most interested in is, so there's a program similar to TechStars at certain university. And the one thing that when I was trying to build my business, I learned is that like nonprofits don't get that much conversation time. So I wonder what TechStars does for nonprofits. And if they do emphasize those like community things, like solutions that nonprofit businesses offer.
Yeah, we have a little bit of a different way to think about it, but we can talk about that.
Sorry, I'm just speaking about.
He always got a happy face.
I'll read everything out so that they make
So I'll introduce myself. My name is Ecleamus. Obviously president of NSBE, but I also have my own company, my software. I don't know if I'm a startup or not, so that might be the first question. I am an employee of one, but I have a team of contractors that we do software services, project management, contracting, development, that type of thing. So that'd probably be the first thing. It's like, all right, am I a startup or am I just a small company?
When am I no longer a startup?
Yeah, exactly. And then I would like to hear more about TechStar, Tech Accelerator, and like why is it important to accelerate growth and comparing kind of the slow and steady versus the, I don't know, to me it's an idea to make as much money as quickly as possible. When I hear it, engage in TechStar. So I'm just trying to understand, is that always the intention of going into conversations with?
I like that question because I tend to not be like the norm in that thinking process, which is related to your first question too.
And I think for me, hey, what's up? What's up? All right, so clearly the main thing is I think I'm the introduction of TechStars to everybody here. And so I know a little bit about it, but I just want you to give us a refresher on what Tech Startup is, what an accelerator program is, how you all engage, and things like that. You and I have had like real raw conversations about mine.
I'm going to start with that.
Yeah. And
what is TechStars? What is an accelerator?
Yeah. And for those who don't know, I actually have started my startup, and I've gotten feedback from TechStars, specifically Amos, about what I applied to TechStars and I didn't get in. I was just crazy early, and he was just upfront with me about that. And so now my next step is to hit the things that he told me to do, and then reapply. So he can go deeper into that. But yeah.
Well, I'm standing up now. Yeah. One more thing to hit. Yeah, for sure. So what do you consider tech? Not really tech. So what you're involved in tech? Yeah. I am so far outside of the work here. So last year in my TechStars program, I had this company that makes pants. I have a company that makes slices of sauce. So like you can get ketchup in a slice, like a cheese slice. Either one of those are tech, right?
Sound like it.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Yeah, exactly.
The
They do barbecue sauce, ketchup, and salsa slices. So you ever have like those mints that melt in your on your tongue? They're kind of like that, but they taste like. So people either think they're gross or they love them. I thought it was interesting.
I thought that's a great idea.
Yeah, like if you think about it, if you want to bring a sandwich to work, you want barbecue sauce or ketchup on it, what's going to happen to the bread by lunchtime?
It's
It's gonna be all
mushy.
soggy. Now you can have the exact same over. It's a different consistency.
True.
Nice.
Yeah.
So just basically the concept is just startup, not necessarily tech.
That's where I'm at. Yeah, I mean, in the way that I look at, like, I got some shit from, like, the people in TechStars. I'm like, look, they sell their shit online. That's tech, right? Like, we got to help them with digital acquisition. I guess you're right. It doesn't matter what the product is. It's just another retail product. The tech part of that is technically the easier part because everything's right out of the box. By the way, usually
And what kind of pants are those?
They're lives in, L-I-V-S-N.
Lives in.
And they're supposed to be good so you can wear them to work and you can wear them to play.
And I see you even got a button on the side where you can fold them up when you're riding your bike.
Exactly.
I saw that.
Have a little flap here so you can, with a little.
You're welcome. I noticed that. Sell it, baby. You invested in it, so.
Yeah. I may stand up just because I'll try to say. So what is TechStars? What is an accelerator? And what is considered tech? So I think that what is considered. So I think in the world of TechStars, like I still get some shit for some of the companies that I invest in. Tech is some sort of solution that you do on a computer or on a phone or on a screen. I've taken that definition to say if there's technology of any sort involved with the food company, I said, oh, it's food tech. I made it work. So I think it may not be a great definition, but like to me, yeah, it's like stepping backwards when I think about like what makes a great entrepreneur. People that just say like, I don't really care what the rules are. I'm gonna figure out the rules that work for me. And I think that is, to me, that's what makes a really great entrepreneur. They say like, okay, I understand what the norm is, but the norm doesn't work. So how do we make something else? Okay, so before I talk about what is TechStars and what is an accelerator, I think about sort of the continuum of companies in a way. I don't know that the world thinks about it this way. I talk about it a lot like this at TechStars. So I'll just write it on the board. I'll write this.
Idea, data, test.
Data test, repeatable, scale, predictable growth. If you talk to
He's so
average
trying.
investor, they're not going to talk about it like this, but this is how they actually. So if you think about like the timeline of what startup is or business is, it's going to answer one of the other questions too. You're sitting around like I have an idea. This like at TechStars, we might talk to you. We might bring you in if we have experience with you and seen in the past that you've been able to do both A and B, C, and it's a little bit on track for that success. It's pretty rare. I'm getting it's pretty rare that accelerators or TechStars do stuff at the idea stage. But sometimes I do probably one of these a year. You guys know Preston, I think was here last time.
Yeah.
They'll have a couple of these, but typically we're all a little bit further along. So then I have an idea. I think this might be kind of cool. The next stage, whether formally or informally, you say, I'm going to go get a bunch of data and see if my idea has any. I'm going to go see if I should spend any time. There's not a huge difference between these things other than this is sitting around in a coffee shop. This is actually going to start and talk to your friends, talk to your boyfriend or girlfriend, and just like testing the water, right? Sharing your excitement. The way that I think about it next is okay, I have some data that says it's worth trying something. Now I'm going to go start testing. Where you're at, I'm going to start testing something. What the product is. I'm going to show pictures of it. I'm going to build something very, very basic. I'm just going to see if I can build it. When you can do this, this is where we start as accelerators. This is where we start to get serious about, okay, can I work with you and help you get to this repeatedly? What that means is anybody can go figure out how to do something. So you might convince somebody, find someone in the world that has the same idea as you, get them. This, to me, is the biggest thing right here. And this is the thing that we really try to figure out inside of TechStars. sometimes it's mostly this. Repeatability, when you hear people talk about things like series ground, so from an investment perspective, there's raising your angel level, which is usually for individuals. Raising your seed level, this is raising your seed level, those are small. $25,000, $10,000, $50,000. That's the highest. In your seed round, okay, I have a little something. Sometimes more often it's people that have their job is to invest some of the rest of the chain. And the checks get bigger as you go as well. Most of the time, this is like angel money. This is where professional investors start getting involved. We look at our jobs helping people bridge this. So how do you get to the people where I know I can do something over and over and over again? Once you learn how to do it over and over again, then you say, okay, how do I actually do it over? That's it. So going from a software business, I know how to get one customer. I can do that. I get two. I can get three. I can get four. Now how do I go from 40 to 400, 40,000, whatever that is. That's the difference between repeatability and scale. Predictability. So in the way that I think about it, this is all starting. Even a little bit of scale, start. But this is really where it starts. We're still figuring shit out. Once you get to scale, you're figuring some stuff out. You're starting. And scale goes on for a long time. Usually, scale goes on 5, 6, 7, 9. $0, $1 billion, $10 million. When you hit predictability, you never 100%. It basically means I know so I do X, I will get. I know how to do that problem. Doesn't mean you will be profitable, but it means you know how to do that. This is usually where companies go public and go and sell. It's usually around predictability. Then grow this high from there to public. This isn't language that you're going to hear from other investors, but it's how they think. So you're starting a company. They're the things that they're going to try to drive to is how close are you? How close are you in this review? Not specific random thing, where you are relative to how they do that. The next question is their belief in your ability to go from wherever you are here to. That makes sense? So now that I've talked about that, accelerators were created, gosh, it's probably been 14 or 15 years ago. The idea was, how do you give early stage companies unfair advantage to figure out how to move down the chain? TechStars was one of the first, I don't think we were the first, but we were one of the first, 13 years ago. In today's day and age, my opinion is the word accelerator is thrown around a lot and has a lot of things. Sometimes it's confused with incubator, which in my mind is something very different. Incubator is like you have a so it's really good. Accelerator, you have this. Or you have to be able to create a system. And how does it accelerate? It's very that's our next question. That really makes sense.
this range, where we believe that the founders have the ability to build something big and bigger faster, than we have the most unfair advantage that we can possibly help them. Going to one of the other questions, and I'll check these out so we'll make sure we get them all, which was one of the things here. When am I going to start, and how do I know when to accelerate? The way that I think about it is, I don't necessarily care how big you get. I want to work with the founders that I work with to figure out what is the maximum potential that they could achieve and how do we help get them. So for some, that